Hi, sorry that I'm not able to be there with you tonight. Ideally, I would have liked to go over some of the stuff while I was here so I could participate in the discussions and answer questions as they came up, but I thought it was more important to get these ideas out in front of you sooner so we're not dragging the process out longer than it needs to be. So I've had a couple of ideas over the past month that I put together in a PowerPoint to restructure how we are looking at the strategic plan. This is just a suggestion. I love to hear ideas and feedback. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, we've got the existing structure that we can fall back upon as well. So without too much further ado, I'm going to open up my PowerPoint. And I've got to share my screen with you. Okay. So I'm going to rush through this a little bit. We don't need to go over every point in that much detail. A lot of it is review, but I wanted to be able to the best of my ability illustrate my thought process for how I got where I ended up. If I just handed you a list of potential new goals to work underneath, I don't think that that would be well received. So introduction, these are just some ideas that what anybody wants to accomplish with the strategic plan in general. Feel free to read through these later on, but I'm not going to go over them now. I've included the slides and as a part of your packet, so you can look at some of the stuff in more detail if you'd like, but I don't want to take up that much time. So these are just some of the first steps in forming a strategic plan. We've gone through and done most of these already. First thing would be define the mission and vision statements, and then determine the library's values based upon those mission and vision statements. We can then take those values and then reframe them as goals for the library. And then we can take the smaller goals, the goals that we've gathered from the public and from our own ideas, and they should all neatly assign underneath one of the categories so that we are addressing all of the values that we have, that we want to, and not just kind of loading all of our efforts on maybe one part of our vision or mission and neglecting the rest. A copy of the mission statement here, like we've discussed this already, and also a copy of the vision statement. So I have a pitch for altering the vision statement slightly. I'd like to remove the word diverse and replace it with the word inclusive, and then also potentially remove the word innovative from in front of innovative technologies. So my thinking is this. So we can't really create a diverse environment. That would be if we were to create a diverse environment, we would, almost forcibly get a bunch of people together, place them in a room and say, this is a diverse environment. What we can do is we can create an inclusive environment that will attract a diverse range of users. So I think it's just a little more accurate and a little more accurate to what we're trying to do. My thought with the word innovative is that it's just unnecessary. We don't have an adjective in front of, well, we have ever evolved. We don't call our collections innovative or our services innovative, even though we strive for them to be just as innovative as our technologies. I'm also a little concerned that it frames technology as being novel and not a core part of our services, which it absolutely is. It's not detrimental. Just to me, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, why are technologies innovative but not our services? I think they all are, and maybe if they all are, it just doesn't need to be stated right here. So, suggestion. So now we're looking to pull values out of that mission statement and vision statement. So values answer what the library stands for, what behaviors do we value, how will the library conduct its activities in order to achieve the mission and vision, and how the library treats members of its organization in the community. So slightly different, but very much related to what the mission and vision statement already do. So what I've done here is I've taken a look at the text of the mission statement and the text of the vision statement, and I've pulled some key passages and I've assigned values to those key passages. So for example, from the mission statement, all members of the Hebrew community, to me, the values that says that we think are important are accessibility, the collection, and also intellectual freedom, both making everything available just as an easy to access, but also lots of different ideas to cover the spectrum of the interests of the community. State of the art, quality, so just that our services, everything that we offer should be as high quality as possible. Preserving records entrusted to the library. Preservation is, of course, a value that is important to the library. We're not a university library, but we still believe in preserving particularly our unique records, but it's important for us to protect and preserve all of the materials that we have here. And also trustworthiness, just because the community needs to be able to trust that we are doing the job that we say we are doing to the best of our ability. So I think we have that trust, but it's important that we maintain it. Looking at the vision statement now, an integral part of our community. So the library is indispensable. Also, I took this to mean that we value social responsibility, because we can't be an integral part of the community without also recognizing that we're a member of the community and that all of our actions affect our neighbors and other businesses in the area. And we need to think about how all the pieces fit together if we're going to be an integral part of the community. It doesn't just mean being very good at our job and people caring about us. Welcoming a diverse environment, or if we switch that out, losing my train of thought here. But so welcoming and diverse environment, to me, that's emotional safety. So right now in the current plan, there's a little bit of, I think, a disconnect with how we interpret safe space, which is one of the committees underneath one of the overarching goals, to make the library a safe space. So a safe space can be a space where all ideas are welcome, where all types of people are welcome. It's an inclusive environment, but it can also mean a place that is just literally physically safe. The building can be in good shape. We have proper security protocols, and that we have good relationship with first responders. So I want to separate those two out a little bit and say that emotional safety is a value of ours, but also physical safety. And then ever evolving, we're always improving. We're always trying to figure out a way to do what we're doing more and better. Some other values that I pulled from the ALA website, they have a list of values under public libraries. So privacy, which of course we value the privacy of our patrons. Education and lifelong learning, we do make that explicit in the mission and vision statement, but we very much value the idea of educating and the idea of being able to educate yourself at all stages of your life. Fiscal sustainability, I think that fits on here because we have limited resources. We will always have limited resources. And we owe it to the people that live in Hebron to use those resources wisely and to be sustainable. We're not looking to frivolously spend the funds that we have. We want to spend them as well as possible. Democracy, I included on there because one of our very reasons for existence is that the democracy functions best with a well-educated public. And that's partly why we're here and why, as a society, we've decided that it's important to make information, quality information freely available to all members of society. So we're a piece that makes democracy work, and therefore we value it. And then innovation, finally, it's similar to always improving, but maybe there's a shade of difference there. Looking for new ways to serve as well as better ways to serve. So this list can absolutely be added to. Things can be tweaked for sure. This is just what I came up with looking through. So I took those goals and I reframed them as 4 values. So the first, or I took those values and I reframed them as 4 goals. So goal number 1, the Douglas Library is a welcoming and inclusive environment in which to pursue lifelong learning. Just to define that a little bit better. A welcoming and inclusive environment provides equitable access to information from a diverse collection of sources and creators in an emotionally safe environment. And then I've listed some values underneath that that this goal addresses. Moving on to goal 2, the Douglas Library is an integral part of the Hebron community, almost directly from the vision statement. So an integral member of the community is an active participant in local events and discussions that makes its trusted services accessible to its members and has a desire to build upon and improve society. Couple of values as well underneath there. We're going to get back to those after we read those. Value or goal number 3, the Douglas Library is a safe environment in which to pursue lifelong learning. So it's a physically safe environment. So a physically safe environment is a well-maintained facility with appropriate security protocols and policies to protect the well-beings of its patrons in the collection. So goal 1 addresses inclusion and emotional well-being. Goal 3 addresses physical well-being. So they're separated out a little more clearly here. And finally, goal 4, the Douglas Library provides ever-evolving services, collections, and technologies to its users. An ever-evolving library ensures that patrons will have access to innovative services that are continually being reevaluated to ensure that they are high quality, cost-effective, and appropriate for the community. Okay. So those are our 4 values. Heading back to our core goals, heading back to our values page, I've color-coded each of the values that was here in association with the goal that addresses it. A couple of them, there's some overlap, which of course there's going to be, but there's also each value, each goal, there are unique goals for each value. There's nothing that is made completely out of overlap, or else, in my opinion, it would be something that could be done away with. So everything that we listed before has been covered. If we add more to it, we would need to tweak these goals a little bit to make sure that whatever it is fit under the goals that we already have, or we would add something else to make sure that we were doing what we wanted it to do. So this just restates our goals as I listed in the previous pages. I've bolded 1 word in each of the goals just as a shorthand. So welcoming, integral, safe, and ever evolving. When you put those together, it makes the acronym WISE, which is appropriate, being that we're a library, and also that we are creating a plan that we hope will help us to make wise decisions over the next 5 years. So I think it's kind of a cute way of shorthand for what we're trying to do to communicate to the public. So those are the goals. That would be the reframing of the plan. I'm going to just quickly look through what it looks like when we put achievable and measurable goals underneath these broad heading goals, and just give you a quick look of how the rest of this process would work if we used this format. So we would take those broad goals, we make them achievable by assigning sub-goals to each categories. Those are the ones that we pulled from the survey, and that when we do the talkback session, anything that we gather from the public there, that we've gathered from our own discussions with each other, we would take those smaller goals and then fit them underneath the larger goals as they best fit. And at this point, nothing's been prioritized or culled or adjusted for feasibility. We're just kind of blue skying it at this point still. So I've gone through what we currently had listed, and I've organized them all into the goals. I'm not going over them now because I don't want to take all night, but feel free to look at it in your packet if you'd like to. These goals, I've restated some of them to be more measurable and achievable. So that's what a good goal is. Measurable and achievable. A goal isn't increase the number of library card holders in Hebron. It's increase the number of library card holders in Hebron by 10%. I've done that with some of them, but not all of them. A few of them are still softer and need to be hardened a little bit for us. So here's integral, safe, and evolving. There's a fair amount under each goal. So it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't look like we're only focusing on one part of the spectrum. We're looking at all the values that we want to. So next steps, just kind of where we are right now, would be hosting the public forum, if necessary, to gather further information. Once we have all the information that we're gathering, which I think the public forum would be the end of that information gathering, we would then finalize all the goals under each category, make sure that the goals are stated to be measurable and achievable, and then we go about evaluating each goal, ranking its importance, and then if necessary, making cuts to the list. So what we're left with is just what we actually will be working on over the next few years. So that's basically where I'm going to stop. The rest of the presentation runs through how to evaluate and what we would do with that information once we have it underneath each heading, and then also how we would execute the plan when we came to the end of it. Once the strategic plan is made, this is how we would actually make the goals happen and be accountable for work getting done on all of those goals. So feel free to look through all of this if you'd like. If not, the first half of it is what's most important to look at. So please take a few minutes, discuss this. If there's anything that you have questions on, feel free to reach out to me. I'll watch the video of the meeting and see what's said tonight. So I'll get that too. And my hope is that if this does seem like a path that we want to travel down, then I can refine what I have and bring it back to you in February. And then we can either solidify it or talk about what our next steps are. So thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I will see you soon.